kritibihi sususubis takshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient within itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam Sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam Muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavakaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore it has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 31, My dear Krishna, Yasoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here's another explanation of the bewilderment created by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the supreme in all circumstances, as already explained. Here is a specific example of the Lord's being the supreme and at the same time a plaything in the presence of his pure devotees. The Lord's pure devotee renders service unto the Lord out of unalloyed love only. And while discharging such devotional service, the pure devotee forgets the position of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees more relishably when the service is rendered spontaneously out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, but the Lord is meticulously pleased when the devotee, out of pure affection and love, considers the Lord to be less important than himself. The Lord's pastimes in the original abode of Goloka Vrindavana are exchanged in that spirit. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance. The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Similarly, he accepts the reproaches of his fiancées more palatably than the Vedic hymns. When Lord Krishna was present in this material world to manifest his eternal pastimes of the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavana as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother, Yasoda. The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stock butter of Mother Yasoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavana, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence. Mother Yasoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household. Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yasoda, the Lord bowed his head and began to weep just like a child, and tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes. This picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother, who wanted to punish him just in an ordinary manner. Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yasoda was not. Therefore, Yasoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's. Mother Yasoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. If Mother Yasoda had been conscious of the exalted position of the Lord, she would certainly have hesitated to punish him. But she was made to forget this situation because the Lord wanted to make a complete gesture of childishness before the affectionate Yasoda. This exchange of love between the mother and the son was performed in a natural way, and Kunti, remembering the scene, was bewildered, and she could do nothing but praise the transcendental filial love. Indirectly, Mother Yasoda is praised for a unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child. So here's a great explanation of the Damodarastakam, pastime of the Lord. Only Prabhupada could write this. You might say, oh, wait a minute, what about the other acharyas? Yeah, he's being inspired by the other acharyas to write this. And he's digested the writings of the previous acharyas, and he's giving a wonderful summary, not writing anything that's speculative, because he doesn't try and outdo his guru or outdo any previous acharya. He's simply writing down the facts as they are, authoritatively backed up by the previous acharya's statements and Krishna's own activities and statements. So to understand the absolutely exalted position of Yasoda Devi, who is the foster mother of Krishna, she's even more fortunate than Devaki, who seemed to be the mother of Krishna, because Devaki was not fortunate enough to witness Krishna's childhood pastimes. But Yasoda Mai witnessed them all and engaged in this rasa of parenthood, Vatsalya rasa, where she's actually superior to the Lord, and he subordinates himself to her. However, for pure devotees like Kunti Devi, they can relish this because, and even they're bewildered by it because they are conscious that the Lord should be worshipped reverentially, that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the other hand, they see that Yasoda Mai assumes a superior position to the Lord, and he relishes being subordinated by her, and manifests incredible childish, let's say, behavior. And it's impossible for materialistic people to understand such a thing. But yet, Prabhupada gives an example of the during the height of the British Empire in the 1880s, 1890s. I guess it was the Prime Minister of England, I'm forgetting his name right now, he was paid a visit by the I guess Prime Minister or some leader of France, because there was 100 years war going on between England and France. They had 100 years war, they had a 30-year war, they were always at war. So the leader of France comes to meet the leader of England to discuss how to stop the war. And the secretary I think his name is Gladstone. Is it Gladstone? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, the secretary says the prime minister is busy. You have to wait a little bit. So this irks the Frenchman, but what can he do? So he waits, and after a long time, he says to the secretary, "What's going on here? I mean, I've come here to stop a war, and he doesn't have time to see me." She said, No. He has some very important business that he's doing. Please be patient. He'll see you." So at one point, the secretary leaves the room. I guess maybe to go to the bathroom or something. So the dignitary from France is curious. What's so important? So he goes and opens the door of Gladstone's office to look in, and there he sees Gladstone's grandson is sitting on his back, and Gladstone's like a horsey, right? And he's kicking his ribs and, "Grandpa, go faster, like that." And he said, "Okay, okay." So now, Gladstone was the most powerful man in the world at that time. It was at the peak of the British Empire. But he's subordinating himself to his grandson, and the grandson's kicking him in the ribs and telling him to go faster. So, not that this is exactly, let's say, parallel to what Krishna is doing, but you get the idea that even in the material world, sometimes extremely powerful persons will subordinate themselves to their grandchild or someone that out of love. And they enjoy it. They actually enjoy it. So here we see that Krishna also enjoys being subordinate to his pure devotees and exchanging transcendental pastimes with them. But this is incomprehensible for most people. And you notice, even in the prayers of the Damodarastakam, it says that the Lord is not pleased by this reverential worship of him as much as he is by the spontaneous show of love. And that's a very important point. The Sri Vaishnavas don't understand so much, but devotees understand it, and that's why we repeat the Damodarastakam prayers regularly. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance. The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. So this is the Yogamaya energy, the internal energy of Krishna, that puts his pure devotees into illusion so they can relate to him in these very, very intimate ways without all the rigorous rules and regulations of reverential worship as they are followed in worshiping Narayana, for example. There's this freedom, and it's playful, and it's full of joy and love and reciprocal relationships. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. So, what are you talking about, Vedic hymns? You're talking about Purusha Sukta, Narayana Sukta, all these very formal, the Vishnu Sahasranama Sutram, all these beautiful prayers that are glorifying the Lord's majesty and transcendental qualities and so forth. But here it's saying the Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Similarly, he accepts the reproaches of his fiancées more palatably than the Vedic hymns. So next time your wife scolds you, probably you can think about this, right? When the Lord was present in the material world to manifest his eternal pastimes in the transcendental realm of Goloka, Vrindavana, as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother, Yasoda. The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stock butter of Mother Yasoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavana, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence. In other words, they enjoyed eating the butter. Mother Yasoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. Now see, here again is something different. Out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for a transcendental child. Usually, out of her pure anger, a mother, out of her pure anger, wants to punish the child, right? But here it's out of pure love, she wants to make a show of punishment. What does that mean, a show of punishment? Well, for example, when ISKCON had its Gurukula in Dallas, Texas, and the director of it, I think, was Srimad Maharaj at that time. And Prabhupada gave the example, he told a story, he said, there was once a snake who wanted to become a devotee. So he was instructed not to bite anyone, right? So when some kids realized that this snake, there was a poisonous snake, but he wasn't going to bite anyone, so they started, torturing him, throwing stones at him and so forth. And the snake complained to his guru. He said, "Look, these kids are torturing me. What should I do?" So then he was told, "Well, you shouldn't bite them, but you can raise your hood and scare them." So Prabhupada gave that example, and he said, you should never beat children, especially in the Gurukula, right? But you can show them the stick, right? So this is an art. Unfortunately, they didn't follow what he said so strictly, and it caused a lot of havoc. And they finally had to close the school in Dallas and then open it up in Vrindavan, because they were being harassed by the government. Anyway, we see this is why it says that she did not try and scare him or punish him. She just made a show of it, right? And out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household. Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yasoda, the Lord bowed down his head and began to weep just like a child, and tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes. Notice she's talking about what's called surme, or kajal. Nowadays they make mascara that is waterproof. You can cry, but it won't, go down your, They didn't have that in those previous days. They had the natural product. So this picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother, who wanted to punish him just in an ordinary manner. Okay, so Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yasoda was not. Therefore, Yasoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's. Mother Yasoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. So, otherwise she wouldn't be able to relate to him in this intimate way. So therefore, what's happening in Goloka Vrindavan is incomprehensible to materialistic people, but devotees relish it. That's the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. So let's pray that we can relish this eternally. Okay, so we'll stop right there. Any questions? All right. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol. Tonight we have our Bhagavatam class.